Welcome to Let's Hookah.
Hey.
Zubi Ahmed.
Hello.
Are you ready to Let's Hookah?
I am so ready to. Well, maybe I shouldn't be ready. We were out late last night.
We were out very late.
So late.
I'm so miserable right now.
I should not be hookahing right now.
It's fine. Yesterday you gave your liver some work, and today you'll give your lungs some work.
Yes.
It has to be a balance.
And tomorrow morning I will wake up thinking I have COVID.
It's better to think it than to have it, right? At least it's not monkeypox. Right?
That's true. Yeah.
All right. So, how was your day? What did you get up to?
It was good. I was just hanging out. Woke up pretty late. And then went to my parents' house. It was my brother's birthday yesterday. Took him to Cheesecake Factory.
There's a Cheesecake Factory here?
There's one in Queens Boulevard. Or one
where
near
is
the
it?
mall.
What
Queens
bar is
Center. Queens.
I mean, that's not.
I think I said Queens like 12 times.
I'm sorry. It's not okay. Somehow I thought it would be Jersey. I don't know.
There is one in Jersey, but there's one Cheesecake Factory in all of New York City, and it's in Queens.
Is Cheesecake Factory actually good? Because I remember from like 10 years ago when I studied in California, we loved it. But the things I loved 10 years ago, I don't love anymore.
Right. Like I would never eat at an Applebee's again, but I used to fuck up some Applebee's back in the day. I love their fucking quesadilla burger or whatever. Like why? Like that shouldn't be anything that anyone puts in their bodies. No. But I did. Yeah. Happily. Too.
Oh my god, the stuff that we did, 10 years ago. Even some music back 10 years ago when I listened to it, like I can't listen to Trey songs anymore. But
Why?
10 years ago, I was all about Trey songs.
Why? What's wrong with Trey Songz?
He's cringy.
Music?
He's so cringy. His music is like...
I haven't listened to Trey Songz in a while, but...
That's probably why. Like, you've grown out of it.
What's one of the songs that he had? Say
I liked, Say Ah was a big one. Neighbors Know My Name.
Oh, I love that song.
That one's still good.
Neighbors know my name, my name.
Go on.
Neighbors know my name. And that music video was so dirty.
And I think that's what it was with him. It was like he always took his shirt off. He was so raunchy.
He knew he was a pretty boy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just not something anyone likes anymore. Like people see pretty boys, they're just like, fuck off.
Yeah. Because he started doing what R. Kelly, Usher were doing on stage, right? The whole like simulated sex thing. And that's just, you don't want to be those people. Like, you don't want to be R. Kelly. You don't want to be Usher giving out herpes to people. You know?
I forgot about that.
Oh, God.
Jeez. Yeah. Man. I don't know. I feel like if I came across a Trey Songz song, you know what song I'm so embarrassed about listening to and loving, and if it came on like my shuffle, I would be like, hell yeah. Do you remember Some Girls by JC from NSYNC? Is that his name? JC?
Is it NSYNC? Oh, I went Justin.
I know. I mean, everyone did. We had no choice.
That's true.
It's not like any of them had like a thriving career after.
But you listen to JC?
Do you remember? It goes, some girls dance with women, no attention, and I get in with them. So pass me a cup and let's go. Why do you know?
I mean, no wonder his career didn't take off. Like that was the song.
Thank you. Yeah. You don't remember that song?
I don't remember that.
I'm the only one who's like giving that song any play.
And it's actually on your playlist?
No, it's not on a playlist. It's on my mind, which is worse.
There are definitely songs where I'm like, oh, I'm so happy my headphones don't leak sound, you know. It's like, you remember back in the day you put on like earbuds and everyone in the bus could hear you?
Let me tell you something, okay? I have this really embarrassing story where, so I went to Fordham University for undergrad, and wow. And Fordham has a shuttle bus, because we have two campuses, so one in Lincoln Center, one in the Bronx, and Fordham. So it takes you between those two campuses. And one time, I was taking the Ram van, which is what it's called, the shuttle bus to the Bronx or whatever, because that's where I went to school, and I'm listening to this song on repeat. Like, it is on repeat. I'm not listening to any other song. I've got this song just blasting through this 30-minute ride, and I didn't realize how loud it was and that everyone in the van can hear it.
Oh, God.
So the guy sitting next to me at some point, during our journey in the Ram van, taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Hey, what are you listening to?" And I was so embarrassed. I just look at him. I'm like, Every Other Time by LFO.
Was that actually what you were listening to? Oh my God.
That's exactly.
On repeat?
On repeat. That was a fucking banger, bro. Come on.
It's not a song I would have thought of as, a repeat song. But I get it. You were in that mode.
I was. But it's one of those songs that you rediscover and you're like, man, good times,
Yeah. So much music that I feel that way about. Whereas, let me fix that. I feel like I had so many of those experiences where I thought that no one could hear what I was listening to. And I may have been listening to Christina Aguilera or something.
Oh, that's not embarrassing.
That is embarrassing. I was trying to always be cool though.
You think that Christina Aguilera is
okay? Let's say Britney Spears.
Britney Spears had hits though. Everyone loves Britney Spears.
But I was listening to Dead Prez. I was listening to Talib Kweli and
oh, you're a hip hop girl.
Yeah. I was listening to that kind of music. So on my playlist, it would be that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, it would go from Wu-Tang to Britney Spears. And I was okay with it. But I thought it was embarrassing. I think it was embarrassing.
I think that's fine. I feel like, she's got good music. They're both
It's a bit harsh.
Mm.
But you were not coughing for nothing.
Thank you. I just want the record to
brown
show
person ever.
that I am not. Actually, I kind of am. I'm kind of a pussy.
That's fine. No, okay, I was about to smoke the. Yeah. I see the challenge with this.
Yeah, this is the dangerous part of this podcast.
I think it's better now. Tell me about your first hookah experience.
Hookah experience. I think for every brown person is you're 15 years old and your cousins take you out to do hookah.
It's
your older cousins take you. They're like, "Oh, you've never done it before? Well, we gotta make it a whole thing now." So you gather 12 other of your cousins. And this was in London, actually. My first time doing hookah was in London.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you go? You could get into places when you were 15?
I feel like the rules were so lax back then.
Yeah.
I remember, you had to go to, certain... Am I... you had to go to, certain... places, right? To find you had the ones that were okay, this is cool, you can bring your younger cousins into this one, whatever, right. And we're not gonna card you or whatever. So it was one of those situations, because even when I once I came back to New York, I was like, oh, I want to do hookah with my friends now. So on Steinway Street, because I was raised in New York, so I know where all the good shit is. Steinway Street is where we would go at 15, 16 years old, skipping class to do hookah. And they would let you in. Yeah. These Arab uncles are just
They don't care.
10 in the morning.
It's a part of their...
Just get in.
Yeah. I would say see the same thing, but I'd be like a snitch back in the UK. You know, I'd see these like 15-year-olds get into a hookah place, and I'd be like, you know, there's an age limit here, right? Like I would say, tell the staff, I'd be like, I know what you're doing. You know,
but you were listening to Wu-Tang. Come on.
Yeah. It's like I grew out of that, you know. Became a rule follower. So, I don't think I ever did, but yeah, it just annoyed me to see 15-year-olds around me while I was like 29 and just like sitting there smoking my hookah in peace.
I didn't want to see
like 15, 16-year-olds around.
At this age, I hate seeing children.
Oh my God, yes.
Around me.
And children is anyone who's like below 25.
Yeah. That's absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, why are you having a good time? Get out of here.
Get out of here.
You have youth. Go be young somewhere else.
Go.
Don't do that in front of my face.
It pisses me off so much.
Like what happened? Bitter.
I don't know what it is. It's just like when okay. Also, there's this. I don't like it when they're having too much fun because I was like, I was not having fun. I was busting my ass, working so hard. I was always at the library. I'm like, you're gonna be out here living your best life. How do we know that
they're not also in the library?
Well, they're at the hookah place, so they're not at the library.
On their time off. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like
we're not in their homes.
I think it's the thing, our parents did. They're like, when we were your age, we used to do all this work. We used to do this and that. I think that's how I feel about youth now. It's,
Yeah.
You're not working hard enough.
I see, I see my sister sometimes. I'm like, you work too hard.
Really?
Yeah.
What's she trying to do?
I mean, it's because she's in the medical field, she's like trying to get into med school and like, all that. I'm like, I feel guilty whenever I'm like out living my life and having fun. And she's like home with my parents. But you know what? At her age, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I feel like she's allowed to do a lot more than I was.
Oh, you're the oldest, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, I remember like last year, she just like got a hotel in New York with her friend and like spent the weekend with them. Like my parents would never let me do that. If they found out that I was doing that today, they would ask me 1,000,001 questions. I'd have to just do it.
Yeah, no, the younger ones, the first ones just get all the shit.
Yeah,
like everything. Your parents don't trust you. It still carries over. You think that your parents grow out of it at some point? No, it carries over. Like even now in my 30s, my parents are still harder on me than they are on the younger ones. You have to set an example.
Yeah,
right. That's still on you to do that.
Well, and the only example I want to set is like, have fun, bitches.
Yeah, right.
This life is fleeting. Have a good time.
And I think it's that pressure they put on you that at some point you're like, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just want to be free, live my life. When did you move out?
At 30, actually.
Wait, that's very recent.
Yeah. So
wow.
I ran away from home, actually.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow, you are a brown girl.
It was like so we hadn't met for the pandemic, so you don't know like the story. The Zubi Ahmed story.
That's a real thing? Tell me. I want to know.
Yeah. So in 2019, end of 2019, not end of 2019. So I graduated college in 2019, not college, grad school in 2019. And then my parents were like, well, it's time for you to get married. And I was like, I kind of just lost it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, fine, whatever. Like, because it was, when you're living with your parents, it's harder to get away from all of like the shit that they say, the stuff that they put on you and stuff like that. So I was having a really hard time with all of that. So I just agreed to let them take me to Bangladesh to get me married. And this was like, our flights were literally booked for March 2020. And I think like 2 days before we were supposed to fly out, our flights got canceled because of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, thank God for this pandemic. Like this is, I feel like such an asshole. But this honestly, I feel like saved me from.
You were gonna go and get married.
I was gonna go and get married. I
would have been like married and
go and find my
Prego now
Bangladeshi prince. You know, whatever. I don't know, man.
Wow.
I don't know.
That is so recent.
Yeah. So then I spent the entire quarantine with my parents, you know, and at that time everything was canceled. There was nothing going on. We were in lockdown. So I spent a lot of time with my parents. And, you know, I thought I was like saved from the whole situation. But then my mom had this like matchmaker in Bangladesh. And she just like sent my mom this one guy, and my mom was like all for it, 100% into it, you know? So then she's like telling me about this guy, sending me the biodata and all of that, which biodata, by the way, it's okay, if you're watching Indian matchmaking, I feel like people know what the biodata? Biodata is like a resume.
Genetic code? Okay, no. Okay. That's a scientist to me.
No. Yeah, of course, brown people, you would use like a scientific term for something as dumb as like...
Of course, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, it's like a resume, basically. Okay. It's like your LinkedIn profile.
But especially if it's like matchmaking, why not make the best match then?
Yeah.
Right? Like
right.
Genetically
why not
too?
Just eugenics?
Yeah, I did not think that far. Yeah. But we do that though, right? We do screen that way.
I mean, there are issues with health sometimes because, like, you know, my cousin, one of my cousins and my brother are carriers of like this thing, this blood disorder. So if they marry someone who has the same disorder, their kid could suffer like greatly, you know. So like,
how do you guys know that they carried?
The doctors tell you when they're born. So
I see.
They can, yeah. So they once they get like all the blood tests in and stuff like that, they can tell. I forgot what it's called. It's something with a T. Yeah.
So this is really random, but in Turkey, before you get married, you have to do a test because there's so much inbreeding, right? Like cousin marriages are such a thing. Mm-hmm. So because of that, you have to do a genetic a blood test before, and your doctor has to approve that you're not at risk of you. So you can't marry a cousin. Like, that's illegal. But regardless of...
That's so interesting that it's illegal
it's illegal in Turkey to marry a cousin. And you have to do the genetic testing to also to make sure.
It's not even illegal in America. That's crazy.
Is it not? I thought it was illegal in some states.
In some states.
Okay.
I think.
It should be illegal. Like, it's funny because I always say this to Muslims and they're like, well, the Prophet... I'm like, shut up! I can't hear this. It is...
The Prophet didn't marry cousins?
His daughter married his cousin, right? So yeah,
his cousin. His daughter married his cousin.
Yeah,
so like that's like
Imam
something of like remove something, you know, or no?
I mean, that's still very close. But I think in Islam it's not banned too.
I think
for sure it's not banned.
I mean, I don't know about all of that, but I don't know. Just I feel like anytime people bring up like what the Prophet Muhammad did, like in terms of marriage and stuff, like they think that they can get away with like having like the 3 wives or 4 wives or whatever. And it's like Prophet Muhammad did a lot of those things to got married to a lot of women to like save them from you know, whatever, like war and famine and shit like that. So he wasn't doing it for himself. He was doing it to
I'm sure he was having fun, but
what? Yeah, I mean, well.
Yeah. I guess also, you know, we can't look back 1,500 years and be like, I mean, this is
have all the information,
right? Yeah. Like we don't know, and also.
I mean, I'm writing journals, right? But I've missed a lot of days.
Yeah, and also this is all in your perception, right? Like society might have like looked at you and been like, "She's fucking crazy," but you know.
I really hope that society looks at me and goes, that bitch, she crazy.
But in like 1500 years, everyone's like, Zubi the goddess, and like let's walk in her
because
footsteps.
I wrote it in my journal. Be like,
this is what she did.
Every morning I wake up and I open the curtains and let the sunshine beam onto my face.
Is that a journal entry for you?
No, my journal entries, anytime I do a journal entry, is motherfuckers are stupid.
That seems legit. Yeah. That's what we do on stage.
It's
That's
our
journal entries.
Have you ever read your journal entries from like when you were younger?
Yeah, from childhood.
Dude, all of my journal entries from when I was younger were so angry. I was such an angry person. I wrote down so much shit of like, I never want to get married. Men are fucking assholes and blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I wasn't even dating. It wasn't about me dating. It was about what we were experiencing through our father figures.
Absolutely.
And I hate to say it, but it's true. They ruined men for us. They were the first ones to ruin men.
I think you're right, because my dad's really loving, really caring. He's such a great person to talk to and chat to for me. But when I was growing up, he was such a terrible husband to my mom that I think I always thought of love and love as this toxic, violent thing. So, and I think in that way they ruined me, because I couldn't like think of myself in a relationship or in a marriage until like last year. I had to go through so much therapy to get to a point and be like, no, love and violence are not the same thing. Like, it's such a toxic way.
No, you are so correct. Like, it took me a really long time to like even get used to the idea of dating people. I remember like when I was like in my mid-20s, I like started getting on the apps and stuff. And I would like set up dates and then ghost the person.
Right.
Because I was just like so scared to like meet the person, and like, it wasn't until like later, but then like dating also ruined the experience of dating. Like men.
Dating is I feel like it's the best way of preventing you from becoming serious with someone. It's the best birth control is dating men.
Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe your parents had it right. Arranged marriage.
Just fucking arrange and get it over with. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna leave this to my parents, because they married each other and they stayed married, and that was not good. So I don't know if I can trust their judgment.
I keep saying this to my mom, and she's like, "You're gonna get divorced and then what?" I'm like, "Live your life." Like,
yeah. I literally was talking to Sabine about this earlier when she was here. About how I wish people just normalize getting divorced in our cultures.
Yeah.
Just be like, I'm not happy. And that's okay to say.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it a bad thing that to make life about me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, our generation does that. But
yeah, because even in Islam, it's like you even the smallest reason for divorce, like if you want it, just do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do we like stigmatize it?
It's so funny. I had these friends when back in Copenhagen. We're not allowed to date. They were quite religious, but they also wanted to like
experience sex.
Yeah. So they would get like Islamic marriages. So like it's just with the imam, right? And everyone knew they were now married, and they would hook up with this guy because he was now like accepted by God. And then like sometime after they would get a divorce and they would do that again. It's like they were just like Islamically, legally being hoes out there. It was fine, but everyone else got like so much stigma from dating.
Yeah.
So wait, so you studied at Fordham. What did you study?
I have a degree in history. I totally forgot.
No
I forget
way.
about that. Yeah. Ask me anything. I don't know shit.
What was your specialty?
I didn't have one. I always was general history.
American history?
All history. It's just that's all my degree. Just history.
Wow. What was your favorite? What's your favorite historical fact?
My favorite historical fact. I'm trying to think back to like the classes that I took. Cleopatra was actually really ugly.
And she was white too.
Yeah. Yeah, she was inbred, so she's nasty looking.
She was actually ugly?
She was, yeah.
Are there records of her?
I think, I think again, this is like the journaling thing where like the translation, not the translation and stuff, but like somebody was like, this is the most beautiful woman, I think to like fuck with the records of history and stuff like that. Wow. So that's why people thought she was a beautiful woman, but in reality, she was ugly. But she was very charming. She was able to like use her charm to get a lot of, you know, go far in life.
And she married the pharaoh, right? And
she didn't marry. Egypt. I don't think she got married.
Didn't she rule Egypt?
Did she get married?
Yeah, I think so. She was Macedonian. Right? She was a princess from Macedonia.
Yeah.
Married one of the pharaohs, I think.
Yeah, and then she had an affair with what was it? Julius Caesar.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Oh, she got around.
And his best friend. Who's Julius Caesar's best friend?
I don't know. Fucking. You're the history major here.
The hookah's fucking me up.
No,
it's my brain.
Actually,
okay. No, I'm just dumb. I don't.
We need. I feel like we need someone to fact check this, but we'll find out.
I'll do it. Hold on.
Yeah.
So Julius Caesar, Cleopatra slept with who?
But I mean, clearly they found her attractive.
They found her. I mean, she had a lot of land and stuff. You know, she was the ruler of a lot. And she was apparently very, very charming again.
Okay.
So let's see. Julius Caesar. Oh, it was Mark Antony.
Isn't that J-Lo's husband? Ex-husband? Wait, who was Mark Antony?
Julius Caesar's best friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Cleopatra required the might of Caesar's armies to install her as ruler of Egypt, while Caesar was in need of Cleopatra's vast wealth. So that's what happened there. Is Julius Caesar related to Cleopatra? Historical accounts state that while Cleopatra was married to her younger brother...
What?
Yes. Yeah, that was exactly. They had a lot of inbreeding in their family. That's why they were ugly.
Oh,
yeah. It wasn't just because of like, you know, they're ugly, but like it was because they did...
Holy shit, she was married to a brother?
Yes. That's she was married to her younger brother. Her younger brother who was like 10 years old when they got married.
Ew.
Yeah. It's so that they can keep the rule.
For sure. Wait, so she had nothing to do with the pharaoh?
I don't know. I honestly that's a good question. How did they get Egypt?
I don't know. I think that empire, the whole Macedonian Greek thing, there was some overlap.
Queen of Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt.
So she did become a ruler of Egypt or what?
Yeah. So she was born in Egypt, in Alexandria. So I think what it was past Cleopatra's. So they didn't even change names either. They were all like her mothers and her aunts and things like that. They're all, yeah.
So when people talk about the iconic, she's the
famous one. Yeah.
But she's mummified, right? Because I remember seeing that at the museum, but maybe I'm making this up. Maybe it was one of the other Cleopatras. Because there's definitely at the British Museum. There definitely is a mummy.
Was Cleopatra's mummy ever found? Her tomb has never been found. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean, also, I don't trust anything at the British Museum, so I don't know.
It's all stolen goods.
All stolen goods. Okay. History major. Wow, that's interesting. And when did you get into comedy?
Around 2015.
Oh, it's been a minute.
Yeah, 2015. But I started with like improv and sketch and stuff like that. So I was doing a lot of that for like majority of my time.
Oh, okay. What made you get into it?
Into
comedy, improv?
I just wanted to write. I wanted to write for TV, and that was like my goal. That was my dream. It's still my dream. It's just that the closer you get to seeing how the industry is, the further it feels like you are from things. Because like I feel like when I got into it, I was like so like wide-eyed and like, you know, just hopeful and stuff like that. And now that I'm in it, I'm like, I don't know if there's any hope left. Like,
obviously there is, because you're super talented and you're like doing so well. But you know,
thank you.
It'll happen.
Inshallah.
This is where we become religious again.
This is where we become
religious. Believe in God. We trust. So it'll happen.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. It's So the reason why I started was for writing. I was like really depressed at work, and my friend would make me go with her to watch improv shows at UCB. So we would go like almost weekly. We'd go to like these shows and stuff like that, and like they were like sketch shows or improv shows and stuff, and everyone was so funny, and we had so much fun. So we started seeing like ads they before the show they would play like, you know, like ads and things like that of like, hey, there's, you know, diversity scholarship or whatever. So I applied for the diversity scholarship and I got it, and that's when I started to like
UCB.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the place in Chicago, right? Or no? Where is UCB?
UCB. So there was one here, which I think is done now. I like they just closed it down because of I don't know if it was because of the pandemic or because they were shutting it down anyways. But they had one in New York and one in LA, and it's just the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, right. You know, Amy Poehler.
Yeah, I thought she went to Chicago to do that.
No, that was Second City.
Second City, okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay, because I read her autobiography, Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
And the UCB was like a big topic in there. Mm-hmm. So that was the route you were trying to pursue, was to like eventually get to SNL.
I was trying to just like, I didn't think of like SNL or anything like that. For me, I was like, I want to write for sitcom.
Right.
You know, because I grew up watching sitcoms. I used to dream and wish like my life was more of a sitcom, because like all the problems were solved at the end of it.
Right. Every episode.
And our problems just like keep going. Yeah. Like as you age, they just get worse. They rot. Nothing is ever.
Yeah. You know? I think we just kind of ignore them, right? We put them in the back as a part of our lives, and we just never quite get over them.
Yeah. So I really really wanted to write for a sitcom. I wrote my own pilot. I actually have written like 3 pilots, or 2 pilots and like a couple of spec scripts and stuff like that. Yeah. And I would like send them to like these, like submit them to like these like competitions and stuff like that. And I would get like, you know, semi-finalists or quarterfinalists and things like that. But then at some point I was just like, yo, this is fucked up that like they're literally using our dreams to like make money, because these things would cost like $60, $75 a pop, like to submit these pilots and stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, you're not really getting any like, you know, anything out of it. You know, you're not getting any mentorship. You're not getting any like guidance or anything like that. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, so that's why I like started to like do my own thing, and like, you know, did a sketch group, like was in an indie sketch group and stuff like that, and started doing improv and stuff, which I never thought I would do improv, because I was like, I can't do improv. I don't want to do that. But then I started doing it, and I liked it. And then I got into grad school, and I stopped doing sketch and improv because the costs adds up, because you have to pay for a coach, you have to pay for the space, the studio space to rehearse and stuff like that. It's a lot. So I was like, well, I'm going to grad school, so let me save my money. And then that's when I started doing stand-up. Because I was like, stand-up doesn't cost as much. So
no, unless you're actually going out to places. For me, stand-up cost me so much. Because I had to go to London from Cambridge. So it was like a train.
Oh, shit.
It was... I think I was spending like probably like $100 a week on going out to like just go to the comedy shows in London. And then, you go to London and you have to have dinner, and then you're taking the train late night home and you're hungry again.
How much was the train?
The trains would be like 15-20 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's and that's like in addition. So you'd have the subway system over there, the tube, right? Mm-hmm. So that was like in addition. But the train between Cambridge and London were like 15, generally like 16 pounds. I think was like the standard one.
Damn! And how much did how long was the ride from?
50 minutes each way. And then once you get to London, because you get to central London, then you have to go to your shows. And it's rare that your shows are in central London, right? Yeah. So you have to like go to, the south or the north of London or east or west. And all of that from central takes like at least 35 to 60 minutes. Yeah. That would be like the regular. So I would spend so much time on the road getting to just places in London. Yeah. Well, but I can see otherwise that here also you start making money quickly from comedy as well, from stand-up. At least like some money. No? Did that take
really? Okay. I don't think so. I don't think I started making like money until like truthfully the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Because people were more willing to like give money for like your performance and stuff like that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely was not making money in London from comedy. It's just like way less a thing.
Yeah.
You don't until you start booking like the clubs from like regular gigs, you don't make money.
Yeah. I feel like it was definitely that way, and it was like never like questioned. Like I would never expect an indie show to like give me money. Even now I'm just like I'm pleasantly surprised when they do give me money. But it's whatever. How do you feel about like when you get like $6 from a show?
That's weird, right? That one's weird.
It is weird, and I think that y'all need to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's like better just not then.
Like, oh yeah, exactly. I'm like, like you're trying, but like it's also just like just keep the money at this point. You know, it's like, what is that? A latte? Fine. Like I have that. I think like
I literally recently I was on a show and there was someone from the UK on the show as well, and they told us the people who booked, they were like, okay, we just made like it would be $9 per person, and they were like, give us your Venmos. And this girl was like, I don't have Venmo. Can you PayPal it, or can you do like a wire transfer? It's like for $9. That's like the cost of the wire transfer itself.
Yeah,
I think you can live without the $9
money, bro. Yeah, she's trying to like get a ride from the airport.
That is $9. Well, yeah, no, those that is weird. That makes me feel weird when I get like something like that. Yeah. What I don't like is when people don't pay you well enough for like a hosting gig. It's like that's a big commitment. Like someone is there for an hour and a half at least hosting the show. So much energy you put like going up on stage.
I do think that the host should be getting paid more, and I feel like it's not.
Not always. Not always. Like mostly I think it is, but not always. And definitely not paying the host, for me that's like non-negotiable. Yeah. Comedy, man.
Yeah. So that's how I started,
So what's your favorite word?
Word?
In improv? What's the best word that you've ever gotten?
Dude, I don't know. I don't.
You never thought about that? Like, there's
I don't think about
you've never been like, I hope
anymore.
someone says this word when I'm on stage. So
No. I don't know. What was the best suggestion I ever got? I have no idea.
Okay.
I cannot remember. I do not think about my improv days at all.
No,
not at all.
It's not a fun time then.
I mean, it was just so white.
I see.
You know, and it definitely made me feel so out of place. I never felt so out of place in my life. And I had a really hard time. I think this was the first time that I was around so many white people in my life. Like I think somehow I was able to avoid it in college. I didn't grow up around white people. I didn't go to high school with white people, you know, none of that. So I think, and in college too, like the white people that I knew was just, they were, you know, I didn't feel intimidated by any of them.
Right.
You know, I felt kind of like we're just in college and we're all going through the same thing almost, right? But in improv, I just had so much, and I feel this now even. Anytime I'm around white people, like especially white male comics, I just feel so invisible and I don't know how to like announce myself
I
in their presence.
completely relate to that.
Yeah.
It's almost like they look through you a little bit, like that's,
yeah.
You might as well not be there.
Yeah, unless you're like a 6 foot hot bitch. Like I'm not like you're so beautiful. Like I can't imagine anyone finding like not seeing you.
That's crazy because it's obviously likewise. You know, like that's crazy.
But it just feels like if you're not just like, you know, fucking Giselle Bundchen in this bitch, like they will not see you, they will not acknowledge you, and they will not respect you unless if you have your credit like stamped on your forehead or something like that, you know.
That it's so real, and obviously it's not all the white male comics out there, but it's so many that it's like enough that it's all of them. Okay, I've had like
I feel like we always try to like give them all so much of the benefit of the doubt. When have they ever gone out of their way for us?
No, it's true. Yeah.
And like, why? Like, it is all of them. They don't give a fuck about us. Why?
I've had like the occasional white guy be like, "Oh, welcome to the city. How has it been?" Like that kind of language.
It's
where
opportunistic,
like,
though.
You reckon it is? Okay, it's good. I love your cynicism. I love that because I'm
from New York.
I know.
I don't trust these whites.
Like I don't trust anyone. Period. But I do feel like male comics for sure. Regardless of race, have been kind of predatory with me.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost like because your credits are not stamped on your face, and they kind of think of you as this like shiny new thing. They see you as a shiny new thing that's there. And the white comics are very good at just like treating you like air.
Oh wow, that's
And then some of the other races, I'm not gonna like specifically target anyone, but it's almost like you can tell that they are being opportunistic with you. If you let your guard down, they're gonna like try to get close, or it's like it's just like toying with you a little bit, right? And that I felt from so many people, and I remember complaining about this to friends of mine, asking me about comedy and being like, I'm walking into these male-dominated spaces and I can see that I'm first and foremost just a woman, not an individual, not a comedian, you know, until someone they respect vouches for you, they kind of treat you that way.
It's true.
Yeah. Now I don't feel that way in comedy here, but definitely the first.
It is about like building community and like, you know, and finding your place within it. Now it doesn't feel as like jarring. I feel like.
Yeah, that was definitely quite intense. So when did you make the switch to stand up? Oh, you said in college, and what about in New York? Your college was here. What am I talking about?
Oh yeah. So I went to grad school. I started to like really get into stand-up around like 2017, 2018.
Okay. Yeah.
So like I was like really going for it, or trying to, anyways, because like I was still in grad school, so it was like hard to like make time. Really,
absolutely.
So a lot of the stand-ups that I knew were like people who were like also in the improv and sketch world and stuff like that, you know. So I was doing a lot of those like Brooklyn mics and stuff like that, you know, those like, and it felt a little more comfortable because, you know, they're a lot more friendly to like queer and POC, you know, people and stuff like that. So that those were good rooms to like work out my stuff and kind of like find my voice and stuff like that. So,
and what's been your process of writing comedy?
I'm not the type to like take out a pen and paper and like set aside time and like, you know, do the work.
Right.
It sounds so terrible. But I'm not really good at that. I kind of just live my life and observe. And then if I find something funny, then I'm like, oh man, the shower thoughts are really just like, damn, I hate that such funny things because I love to talk to myself. So
yeah, same here. I do that all the time. I'm pretty sure my neighbors think I'm crazy. For sure.
No, I'm talking to my partner. What are you talking about? I know I have roommates too, and I'm like, I try to be careful about like actually talking to myself. My sister confessed to me the other day that sometimes, because we used to share a room together. And my sister was like, you know, I like sometimes would wake up and I would hear you because I would be home like writing and stuff like that. And I would stay up until like 2-3 in the morning writing and shit. So like sometimes I would wake up and I would just hear you talking to yourself. I'm like, what?
Did she listen in on your conversations with yourself?
No, she would just wake up and be like,
this bitch is crazy.
She's like, I got school in the morning.
That's funny.
Dude, one of the funniest things happened when we were sharing a room. I remember one time, I don't know why, but she was like getting ready for school and it was like a really cold day. And we had like this huge IKEA closet with a mirror or whatever. And she had the lights on while she was getting ready. So I just like kind of like opened my eyes and I see her and she's just...
What'd she do?
She's just staring at herself in the mirror.
Oh, she was going through something.
And you know what? We all do that. We all have done that. But like to see someone else do it is just the funniest thing. So she's just staring at herself. She's like fully dressed, right? Like she's all dressed, ready to go. She's got her fucking puffer coat on. You know, she's got her hat, her scarf, everything. And she's just staring at herself in the mirror like... And I'm like watching her for like a good 10 seconds. She's not moving. She's just not breaking contact with herself in the mirror. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And she whips her neck so fast. And she's like, go back to sleep.
How old was she then?
I think like 16 or something.
Wow, she was really going through something. She was hyping herself up in the mirror. Like, I do that all the time. I'm like, bitch, get your shit together.
It's just so fun. That was so funny. Every time I think about that, it's just like, oh my God.
I had a friend stay over at my place. And so I had my bed and she was sleeping on the mattress. And in the morning, she got up early in the morning to go to class, and I was still sleeping. And so she was like getting ready, putting on her pants or whatever. And I just like got up and I looked at her and I was like, what are you staring at? It was so comical.
This is why people want to live alone.
Exactly. It was so comical old because she was like in the middle of putting on her pants. She just froze and looked at me. It was like, the fuck? It was so funny. It was one of those situations. It's like, that was so fucking weird. Why did I do that? That was funny.
Have you ever like woken up like you're having, I don't know if it's like a dream or something like that, but you kind of just like wake up and you're just like like
I do that all. Yeah.
Oh geez, you do that all the time.
All the time.
Is that how you wake up?
No, not like all. Okay, I was exaggerating all the time, but it happens to me so often.
Damn, really?
I'm like startled because I don't remember my dreams. I was traumatized as a kid by my mom.
Yeah.
So I always it was So okay, this is getting dark really fast. But in my neighborhood, there were a couple of girls that got like abducted and then raped and killed.
Oh shit!
When I was like 5 years old. Yeah. So my mom was going out of her mind because she was so afraid. Like if I was 5 years old, my mom was 24.
Oh wow!
She was so young, 25.
Yeah.
So she was like losing her shit that this would happen to me, and it was always like, you can't go outside, you get raped, because she knew nothing about child psychology, right? So every night in my dreams, and I had just seen Stephen King's It movie, and because no parental like control on television or anything like that,
they didn't know how to do it.
Exactly. So I watched this like clown movie. So in my nightmares, clowns would come to our playground, abduct me, drunk clowns, because they were always the people who had abducted these girls were like drunker. Yeah. In our like neighborhood. And so my mom was always like, stay away from drunk people, stay away from people who drink, stay away from this and this. So in nightmares, they were all the same people. So it was drunk clowns coming to the playground, abducting me, and then one of these girls had been killed by, they put like a hammer through her head, and they would come with hammers, and I was like in desperate need of therapy as a child, but
but you were 5 years old. Did your mom just tell you what happened?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like she told me, we found out, and like I saw photos of this girl too, and she would come in my nightmares as well. And it would be like I would wake up, and the next night I would go back to sleep, and it would continue exactly where I woke up.
Whoa.
So I was terrified of sleep. I was refusing to go to sleep. And I hated sleeping so much. I hated the nighttime so much. And then one day I was staying at my uncle's place, and I had a bunch of cousins my age, and one of them, we were all like lying in bed, and I was telling them that I hated this. Continued until I was like 8 years old. And then one of my cousins was like, if you say these prayers before you go to bed, you won't have nightmares. And the like psychological effect of that was so immediate. So every night before going to bed, I would make these prayers from the Quran. It was like Al-Fatiha another one. I don't remember now, but Ikhlas, I think, was the
That's the one.
That's the one. 3 times that, and 1 time Al-Fatiha, and I was doing these prayers like right before going to bed, and my nightmares stopped. Like it was so immediate. Wow. So after that, I just never dreamt. I just would never remember my dreams. So when I'm started like that, I know that I've had a bad dream, but for the life of me, I cannot remember.
Wow, so you can't remember any of your dreams. You haven't been able to remember a dream.
I think maybe it's happened since then. Maybe it may have happened like a handful of times. Yeah. It's been like something so intense and so much on my consciousness, like not just in the subconscious, but also on my conscious, that I might remember. But it's so rare that I'll remember anything.
Yeah. So do you still like do the prayers and stuff?
It's funny because I was doing it as just a thing until quite recently, I think. Yeah. And then, but no, I don't really do it anymore now. But I still don't remember. I think I've conditioned myself like quite well.
Your brain is just well, it's like, you're never gonna remember these dreams.
And I don't
again,
want to.
So.
Oh my god, it was such a horrible experience for so many years that I have like deep and like really big problems with insomnia. And for the longest time, people were always like, well, coffee, like I was having insomnia when I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. I wasn't drinking coffee. There's no caffeine. There was no electronics. This is pre-phones, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't have anything to like this. It was just the fact that I just did not want to like
sleep.
Yeah. It was the anxiety from sleep. I could not fall asleep. And that carried like throughout my life. That the insomnia has been like a huge thing in my life. Yeah. But it's funny. It's like it all goes back to your childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Always.
It's always. Yeah. I feel like no matter, that's the scary part is like, no matter how good of a parent you try to be, you're gonna fuck up.
You're gonna fuck up somehow.
Fuck up your kid somehow.
I think that's such a scary thought, right? Like
I know.
You can't get it right.
Yeah, it is scary.
So you should just stop trying.
Stop having kids.
Just put them out into nature and let them
just the wolves raise them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you'll either fail, you'll either make it, or you won't. So just put them out there and see survival of the fittest.
At least they can't come back and be like, my parents fucked me up. Well, I mean that would be their parents, because if your parents are just like send them to the wolves,
it would still be their parents.
Still be the parents. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things of like being parents. At least like love my parents, love all the sacrifices that they've made for us. All that.
We always have to preface this.
We always have to say it because someone somewhere on the internet is gonna be like, your parents gave up so much to have you. I'm like, I didn't ask for this.
Right.
But so I feel like, parents will always kind of just tell you like what they've sacrificed and stuff like that. And it's like, I understand that, but like, I wish that you had chosen yourself at some point.
Absolutely agree with that.
Like at the end of the day, like if you're going to blame me for shortcomings, like I wish you had just done what you truly wanted to do. That's why I feel like I am proud of like comedians, comics, and because we are doing the thing that's like not the easiest shit, and it's like we're just trying to fucking pave a path for ourselves, our dreams and stuff like that, and without having to put in our future kids, you know?
Absolutely. It is so sad. My mom would always say that to me. She'd be like, if not for you, if not, I would have divorced your dad, but I didn't want you to be the daughter of like a broken woman. It's like, who asked you? Like, look at me. I'm 32 and unmarried. Like, clearly that was not.
Clearly, I'm fucked up either way.
Exactly. So. Like, and it's so sad that had to be the deal breaker for her life. Yeah. Maybe like she might have had a completely different life now than. I mean, I don't think my mom is unhappy. In her marriage anymore, but. It's just sad to see like what they went through, and I wish they had put themselves first. But I wonder what that would have looked like for us if they had done that. Because I feel like a lot of the trauma of childhood and like being raised by our parents and these having to navigate different worlds, the outside world and the home, kind of shaped us a lot, right? Yeah. A lot of it's the basis for so much of our content on stage as well. Yeah, we probably would have been like wholesome and happy people and had nothing to talk about. What were we gonna talk about if we were happy?
Yeah, thank you, Abu, for giving me shit to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be mad that I'm talking about it, okay? But just be happy that you gave me content.
Do your parents know you talk about them?
I think so.
You don't talk that much about your parents.
I don't really talk too much about them. I feel like it's mostly in podcasts. My mom did find my Mango Bay podcast, which she cried. She cried.
What'd you say?
I don't know. I think because I talked to her about it afterwards, and I was like, like we just saying things to get views and stuff like that. And she was like, I've never heard you guys use this type of language and stuff like that. Which, by the way, she used to love Usama. now after after watching that episode, watching Mango Bay, she's like, he's ruining you, he's bad influence, like,
wow,
all that, and I don't know.
Wait, so okay, your mom's fluent in English.
Yeah, she can speak English.
Okay,
yeah.
I forget sometimes that Southeast Asians do have like a close connection to the English, but because my parents definitely don't speak English,
really,
and I think a lot of the stuff I put out there, I would not want them to see.
Right, so they don't. They understand English though, right?
No.
So wait, what?
My parents live in Denmark. It's a different.
So what do they speak then?
So the Danish language, it's Danish.
Oh.
But my parents speak Turkish and Kurdish, right? But then outside world speaks Danish.
Honestly, yeah.
So they speak some Danish.
Oh,
but
you lucked out, bitch.
Even their Danish is very, very broken. So I could be saying things in Danish.
Can you do stand-up in Danish?
I can't. I never have.
How did you learn English? Did you have to learn it in school?
I did learn it in school, but I mainly learned it. This is gonna sound crazy, but I used to translate all Tupac's music into English, into Danish. Yeah, I was listening to his songs and I would translate every single word. Like I don't remember how old I was. Like so young, and I learned the word penitentiary in one of his songs, and I was like the only kid in my entire school that knew that word.
It's like penitentiary is prison.
Prison. You call it jail, but obviously I speak sophisticated English, so penitentiary.
That's so funny.
So that's actually rap music was how I learned English.
That's so cool.
It was crazy because I felt like a lot of the music is so passionate, and I felt like there was a message.
Yeah.
And growing up in these parallel societies in Denmark, where like all the minorities are in one neighborhood, so essentially the projects, and what the government legally called the ghetto in Denmark. Because of that, I felt like the music resonated a lot.
It aligns, yeah.
Because obviously the experience is like vastly different, but there's a sharedness there that
absolutely
spoke to me a lot growing up.
I think that's like the case for a lot of brown people who grew up poor, right? Like
absolutely.
And it sucks because like there is a lot of like stigma around. Like, well, you don't have the same experience as the people who are, rapping these things. Like, of course, like when I never joined a gang,
right?
Like, I never, I never shot up anyone. I don't have these experiences, but I was very, very much adjacent to those experiences. Like, there's definitely like a lot because. Did grow up poor, you grew up in a neighborhood where this shit was happening in, you kind of just relate to it.
You do. And it's not like, so we have intergenerational trauma as well. I grew up with stories about like war and persecution and what Kurdish people went through in Turkey and like having your land taken away, being like removed from it, being but forced into exile, and then always being like the bottom of society. That's what I grew up with, and I feel like that's something that in rap music was there was like huge crossover.
Absolutely, yeah.
And sometimes
the same for Bengalis as well.
For sure,
yeah.
And explaining that to people is sometimes like I feel like cheapens it a little bit. It's like I have to justify why I think in this language, why in rap music language was how I thought for such a long time. It's funny. I had this. I remember this day in English in high school. We had to read out loud. I don't know if you did that here, but you'd go around reading paragraphs of text. Yeah. In like foreign languages, so we did that, and we were reading Of Mice and Men by Steinbeck, and I read my entire paragraph as it was a rap song, and it was hilarious. And I was like a class clown, so everyone was like in stitches by me doing that. But this was literally how I read and thought.
Holy shit! Wow,
it was funny, but yeah. There's a lot of sharedness. It's a shame. Yeah. I was literally talking about this with some friends yesterday about how I did not expect the minorities in this country to be so segregated. So I feel like the black people in comedy, at least I see, are not really fucking with, in my experiences, at least as someone who just like entered the space, it doesn't look like they're fucking with brown people. Brown people, and both brown, Southeast Asian, and Middle Eastern, and Hispanic people seem to be like very separated.
Everyone
as
is
well.
Like in their own group and stuff like that.
And in the UK, that's not a thing. Right?
Really?
So it's POC. It's Black minority ethnic, and that's it. Everyone there kind of has. There's more sharedness. Obviously, Black people in the UK also come from sort of the same root. Black people here, but they came to the UK much later. So like the people from the Caribbean came in much more recently, and so they were not a part of shaping the British the land, right? Whereas Black people here are a part of the US history, right? So I feel like already there's such a big difference versus like in the UK, Indians and Pakistanis are such a big part of British history too, in the same way that the people from the Caribbean are. So there's already so much crossover there, and people are much closer, I think, in terms of identity than I see here, for sure.
I think what it is like I think it's geographical distance, because America is so far from Bangladesh and Pakistan and India. Like, our shit had to travel so far and so long to get to America. That's why like halal butcher shops and things like that weren't opening up as frequently as they were in London and stuff like that, because you guys kind of like shared a continent almost,
Yeah, it's
like
true.
it's much closer. Like I really do think that that's like a big part of it, and I don't think a lot of people think about this, because there were a lot of Indians and Muslims coming from that part of the world into America and shaping a lot of America, but our history gets erased because of that. Like, I think because we weren't able to like quickly establish these spaces for ourselves, right? So we didn't have you didn't have like these Indian restaurants and you didn't have like these halal butcher shops and things like that, because it takes much longer for shit to arrive to America.
And somehow like some cultures
I could be making this shit up. I think like that's what I think it is.
I also probably in percentage you are also smaller than the other minorities. And it's all about like who becomes a dominant minority group, right? In California, everyone thinks I'm Mexican because that's the dominant minority group. In New York, everyone thinks I'm Puerto Rican because that's the dominant like Dominican dominant. That was interesting how that just slipped out, but
I definitely like growing up. I didn't see a lot of like brown people around, like Bengal. Like it's like more recently now that I'm seeing more brown people in the world, out in New York and things like that. Like before it was just like I felt like I was the only one walking these streets.
Wow,
and stuff,
you never walked by Rutgers. Clearly,
I did not. I tried to.
Did you have family in Jersey?
No.
The only brown person without family in Jersey.
We don't do that. We're all about New York City.
Okay.
We're all about making our mark here and leaving here. And then, so I do think that it is interesting that you bring up the segregation, and I feel like America is very sinister in that way, because it's not so much the people that are doing it, it's the government that's doing it to the people.
Okay.
Because there's this thing called like redlining and gerrymandering and things like that. Like the government really plays a huge part in like squeezing all like the same types of people together in one place.
Right.
And because you grow up in that like mindset, you kind of like take that along with you through life, and you build a comfort around, that.
Yeah.
And being around that. Because I don't know, for me, I feel very comfortable around any POC, you know. So I like I don't have to even think twice about it,
right?
You know.
Oh, that wasn't to say that I don't. I definitely do too, because I approach it in the way I would have in Europe. But I am noticing that not all groups take me in the same way.
Yeah.
And that is like, you have to prove yourself to be like worthy minority in some spaces here. You know, whereas that was never my experience in other countries.
Yeah.
But for me, you know, all POCs are POCs, and that for me is just like enough for me to align. I feel
America has actually like fucked people of color up so much that everyone is so much more protective of their spaces, so much more I don't want to say gatekeeping, but like in a way kind of like gatekeeping. And I don't blame anyone for
I don't at all,
you know,
for sure.
Because sometimes you open up your doors, you open up your arms, and people really fuck you over.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, how many times have Muslims like for example, like if there was a masjid that like took in, you know, new converts and things like that, and they turned out to be the fucking FBI, how many times do you think that's happened?
Right.
It's gotta be a bunch of times. And then, like, you know, of course in those cases, like you didn't even find anything. Like you just fucking like use our resources and our time and space, you know,
for sure.
You know, so I don't know. This might just be like now me rambling.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, it is late and we've been talking for a minute, but it's so real for me that like protecting those spaces. I don't know. You do that anywhere. We would do that. I would do that even in my college society. You know.
Yeah.
But for me, what I would consider a part of my community was just like it's wider.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't fault anyone for doing that because obviously, there's a need for it as well. In the same way with, you know, like you said, with masjids, communities have also found that when they let some people in, that things fall apart. I was thinking about when you were talking about the masjid, I was thinking about this NPR episode of this guy, this FBI, just this CIA FBI guy trying to find someone, a radical Muslim at the mosque. So he starts like hanging out with these people, and then essentially just like contrives the situation.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is that the case that you were thinking? Yeah, I
don't listen to NPR. I'm not. I don't know actual things. I just make a lot of shit up.
There you go. Yeah, you are a historian.
I believe in.
There you go.
I believe in patterns. Is what it is. I believe in patterns when I see, because I mean, like, I don't know history that well, but I understand it.
Yeah.
And I understand that things have happened in the past in a certain way, and they will continue to happen in a certain way.
Yeah. Because it's cyclical, right?
Yeah.
You just keep going back and repeating history.
Yeah.
And they've done the same things over and over again enough that we can be like, oh yeah, there's definitely a pattern here, or like this leads to this action.
Yeah.
We know that by now. And I think we live in such a wonderfully enlightened world now where we just have access to all this data. We know what's happened. We know what's happened, kept.
And we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, the warning signs are all there. So
they're in the Quran.
They're in the Quran. We've known for like 1,500 years.
Did you hear about how time is actually moving faster?
Is it actually?
Yeah. We had one of our shortest days in June, I think June 24th or something like that.
Okay.
It was not, the Earth made its full revolution or whatever under 24 hours. Ooh. So it was like point something seconds before the 24 hours. It made its full whatever, spin around. Wow.
I get.
What's it called?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Around the sun.
Yeah.
It went around the sun. Oh, God. I'm so stupid. But did you know that that's also in the Quran as like the sign of the end of days?
Yeah, it is a sign of end of days, yeah.
So
the apocalypse is happening.
Muslims have been warning y'all.
Yeah.
Okay?
We have, yeah. You didn't listen. You're all going to hell now. All going to hell.
It's so interesting. Like these things, when I was younger, I would like scare myself with these things, like end of time, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, like the signs of the end of the time.
I was like, as long as I don't see a cyclop out here, I'm okay.
the Dajjal.
I was fucking terrified.
Dude, you know what makes me even more scared is that like I don't want to be alive for this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yes, Muslims believe that Jesus will come or resurrect and save us from the Dajjal and stuff like that. I don't want to be alive for that.
I do kind of want to see it.
I don't.
We've been fed this story for so long. I want to see how it plays out.
Well, I mean, they say that Jesus is gonna win,
right?
And then we're gonna live peacefully for 40 years, I think.
Is that what it is? 40?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna be long gone by then. So who would if you had to think of any individual on earth now that could be Jesus, who would it be?
Like if they were already here?
Yeah.
Everyone sucks, bro.
Yeah.
Everyone really sucks.
If I met someone who was that kind, I'd be like, what are you up to?
Yeah.
You know?
It's Mo Yakub. Shout out to Mo.
Shout out. Yeah, episode. That was the previous episode.
Plug it.
Yeah, is he that nice? I don't know. Yeah, no, he's a nice guy.
But I don't know. I can't imagine, like, especially in the circle of people that we know, like none of us. But Jesus is not supposed to be born again.
Is he just supposed to come back?
Yeah, they said resurrect Jesus.
What?
Yeah,
I thought he was supposed to
Jesus is gonna come back like as like a how old was he when he died?
40 something,
40
right?
something. Yeah. He's just gonna come back
gonna be
as
a 40-year-old man.
Yeah. We're gonna be like, okay, boomer.
We're gonna
right. See him be like, what's this boomer out here? Okay, wait. Who do
go ahead.
Who do you think is the Dajjal then? Like if it was anyone,
a one-eyed person.
I mean, no, they're supposed to be like when they come into the world, when they like introduce themselves to the world, they're actually supposed to be very, very good looking.
Oh.
Very well spoken. I used to think it was Obama.
I think a lot of people think it's Obama.
I think it's Obama.
It's Dajjal Obama. That's the real mystery.
It's Dajjal Obama. That's the title of the episode.
Because
he's so good looking. He is, so well spoken,
yeah, because they're supposed to kind of like
he had that.
They're like a vixen, right? They're like everyone's under their charm.
Yeah, and he did charm us.
He did charm you guys.
He really, really charmed us.
No one even cared about the drone strikes.
No one blinked an eye at the drone strikes.
Every time, like I have people like, yeah, Obama. I'm like, wait. Dude, really? Obama killed more people than Bush did.
But now we're like obviously like waking up to that reality, right? Like now everyone's like, oh shit, like
So what's he gonna do? You reckon he's gonna come back and he's gonna like take over the world?
I think we're gonna find out that Obama has that one eye.
That one eye? Yeah.
Michelle Obama is going to expose him, and then Jesus is gonna fight him.
Jesus gonna fight. Oh, what about the Mehdi? The Mehdi is also gonna be. That's gonna be someone born, right?
I actually don't know that one very well.
Me neither. I feel like Shias know that quite well.
Yeah.
But obviously, you have to distance yourself from the Shias too when you're Sunni. I don't know.
You know what? I actually went to a Shia Islamic school.
You did?
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Imam Ali when I was growing up, and I used to always I had a sword. Yeah, I had that. I still have it.
It's the sexiest thing.
It is.
It's so. I mean, like they really made Imam Ali to be like the hottest character in the Quran.
And he was wearing like eyeliners, he was like, with his like long hair. I don't know. Like he was the cool guy, right? He was the cool guy in Islam.
You ever watched that movie, The Messenger?
Oh my God, yeah.
That's the reason, right? Yeah. Because like in that movie, which like for a movie that was made in like 1970 or 80 something.
It's in the 70s, yeah.
It was so well done and so respectfully, like tastefully, respectfully done. Yes, it's a lot of people that are like played by white people, whatever. But we can let that go. The fact that
it's also directed by a white guy, right? It's like they're made by a white guy.
But the fact that they were so respectful to like not cast anyone as Muhammad or even Ali, like they really just like use the camera to symbolize.
It's so well done. And the music, right? Like every time it was Muhammad, you have that sound.
Yeah. Such a good man. I want to watch that movie now. Yeah. And then like anytime Ali was in the picture, it was just his sword. Yes. Yeah. That's why it's so enticing.
Yeah, it's enticing. And also the fact that he was the strongest man or whatever he was, like so brave, so courageous, and such a like confidant to the prophet and all of that. I just like had such a allure of him, and so I used to wear that like
loyalty.
The loyalty, and I had his I still have it.
I had a necklace.
You had it too, and I had friends who were Shia, and they'd be like, "Oh, you Shia?" And I'd be like, "No," and they're like, "But you're wearing."
The Zulfikar.
The Zulfikar. I'm like, well, since when? He was not Shia. He was just Muslim.
Yeah.
Right? There was when Ali was alive, there was no Shia or Sunni.
Right.
Like, that came after he died.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's like Catholics being like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I was like trying to make a connection. I'm like, well, I don't really actually know Christianity very well.
Also, the fact that like Christians had the cross, right? That's like such a symbol. Versus we don't really have the same, unless you wear a hijab, I guess you're not putting on a symbol. But I like the sword as being like this like dominant thing.
Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, the Mehdi I think is supposed to come back and fight at some point or like lead humanity.
Oh.
But I'm not sure. Like
some things don't really add up.
Yeah.
There's
too many heroes in this story.
There's too many heroes, and I feel like not enough time. Actually,
right.
Especially when the time is moving faster.
It's the end game now.
It's the end times now. Like what's happening? Like I feel like it's very interesting that it'll be like, okay, like the mountains are gonna be on fire and the seas are gonna be rising and
all of that is happening.
All that is it's so crazy how much climate change is in the Quran.
Right.
Like
how did they know?
I don't know.
It's God's words.
Allah's real.
I feel like we're both being really blasphemous, but also not.
Yeah, no, I mean,
this is where we converse. This is where we converse. I love, when we try to find out the name for the podcast, Sabine actually suggested Holy Spokes.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were going to do.
Yeah, but it was taken.
Oh,
she was like,
okay.
yeah. So and she was like, "Oh my God, this is so funny." She was like, "You use it as an excuse to convert people to Islam," yeah. And I feel like we're kind of doing that now.
Yeah,
we're doing God's work.
Yeah. Anytime you get me on a podcast, I will try.
Yeah.
To convert people.
All right. So should we talk about your hookup stories now?
Oh yeah. Are we talking about that? You know what's funny is that the mention of the Zulfikar. The first dude I ever hooked up with was Shia. Okay. And I remember so clearly when he was on top, seeing the sword in my face. I was like, this is wrong.
Is that what you thought? I thought you were gonna say that you named his penis Zulfikar.
You know what? I am a very bad Muslim, but I would never do that. I would never do that.
That's where I thought the story was going. I don't know. Like, you poke me with your sword or whatever.
Yeah.
Your mom's going to be proud of this episode. I hope she finds it. You've been such a good Muslim.
Don't say that. I can't be fucking up again.
Oh, God.
Shit. And she's going to see me freaking doing hookah. Don't post this episode, okay?
Oh, yeah, we're just hanging out, so it's fine. Yeah.
Just make this episode 3 hours long so she can't go through the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's like a Bollywood movie, so she's okay, right?
Oh, no, there's no dance numbers. I was going to stop it right now and we put a dance number in.
Why don't you just get up and twerk and do the whole thing? So she'll see you be like smoking and twerking and all of it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to give my mom a heart attack.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
No, we were talking earlier about how you use YouTube videos to find out how to like learn something from YouTube videos, and both me and like earlier Sabine was like twerking.
Oh, you use YouTube videos to learn how to twerk?
I didn't learn it.
Oh,
I was like, yeah, my ass just does not move that way. So
I actually used to teach a twerk class.
No way.
I did.
But you have the booty to do that, so
yeah. But anyone can twerk. I just gotta believe
it. Oh, you gotta believe. You gotta believe. Believe in God, it'll happen.
And I think that the biggest thing about twerking is that you really actually do have to let the music carry you away.
Like, and you know what? I always thought that is the fact that I couldn't twerk is because my ass was too muscular.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's what I thought.
I've just got a lot of jiggle, so I don't know.
Yeah. See, you're just like gifted.
No, but I feel like if you, even with muscular butts, you can kind of just like move your this part up and down, and there will be some motion.
Wait, okay, we actually talked about this earlier. Is it someone told Sabine that it's all about the ankles? Is that true?
No.
Okay, good.
Are you trying to hurt yourself?
Because we were like, we need to fact check this. Like, good, you're a twerk expert. I'm gonna tell her.
Who told her this?
I don't know. Someone told her when she was trying to learn.
Oh God! Don't do that to your ankles. You'll roll your ankles.
It's from the sound, from what it sounds like. She didn't learn it. If she was trying to twerk her ankles, she probably didn't learn how to twerk.
No, if anything, you want your feet firmly on the ground. You don't want. What's your ankle doing?
I don't know what it was because we couldn't figure that out. We were like, what? How does it go from your ass to your ankles? I don't know. But have you tried to learn anything from YouTube? What have you tried to learn?
Have I tried to learn anything from YouTube? I actually had to use YouTube to learn how to use wall anchors. Actually,
that is such a grown-up answer. That's not what I thought you were gonna say at all. Wall anchors.
First of all, I'm a dad. Okay.
That's so funny.
I aspire to be a dad more than anything in my life.
My mom is the dad.
Really?
She's the one who does all that kind of stuff, like all the contract kind of work.
Yeah.
She did our floors. She does the painting. She paints the ceiling.
Wow.
She builds everything, and she also stitches and sews and tailors stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah. She and my dad can't do any of that, so that's like a big joke.
What does your dad?
He's a cab driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's actually. So my dad got trained in Turkey as an accountant. Then he came to Denmark, and they were like, "What degree?" So he's been a cab driver for 30 years.
So that's the same everywhere, huh?
Oh, for sure, yeah. So the degrees back from our countries were not credited. So
meanwhile, you guys are back in our parents' countries. They're doing like biology in the 3rd grade. Like I don't understand how they're so much more advanced. They're learning like trigonometry in kindergarten. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
How does it not translate over? It is really just like this white supremacist.
It is.
Mindset.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's like, wait, you're gonna come to my country and tell me how to do my taxes? Like, get the fuck out of here. You supposed we got you here so that you could work in service business, and that's what you're gonna have to stay in. even in Denmark, like such a developed country, right? So like great welfare state. So many things about Denmark are just so exceptional, but when it comes to how they treat the minorities is appalling.
Damn.
In Denmark,
that's everywhere. Damn.
Everywhere. And you can't, as a person of color, you can't go above middle management.
Damn.
They're never gonna put you in like top executive positions. I've never seen that in all my years there, and it was one of the reasons it discouraged me from staying in Denmark, because I was like, I'll never explore my own potential because people will prevent me from it.
Do you feel like you have more of an opportunity, or did you feel that way in England, and do you feel that here that you can like climb up?
I think the fact that definitely is that it's still something that holds you back. For instance, in the UK, I've got a scholarship to go to Cambridge, right? Mm-hmm. So at Cambridge University, obviously incredibly elitist and posh, and like mainly just white, very, very privileged white people in that space. I would walk into these spaces and I would just, first of all, increase the ethnic population by 100%, right? And then it would just be, I would be so out of place. In conversations, again, I would be totally ignored. And then often also really tokenized to like people being like, oh, if you don't mind me asking, how do you think you're going to solve the war in Syria? You'd be like, the fuck you think I am? Like, I study biology, man. Like, I don't know. Like conversations like that always made you feel like you are just a minority and that's it. But at the same time, because I got to those places and I got like scholarships and I managed to like make great connections with people that really believed in what I brought to the table, it felt like I was getting out of that space where you'd get held back. Yeah. But even in academia and like science, it's completely male dominated. It's mostly just white men. And if they do give out a position to a woman, it'll usually just be a white woman. Yeah. So I feel like we're still so far down the ladder, but I feel like at least there's not it's not systemic, I think, in the way that it was for me in Denmark. Oh, wow. Because in these countries, both in the US and in the UK, their race issues they go far back, right? It's been going on for like centuries, maybe. Yeah. Even in the UK, it's gone back quite far. So they've come to a state now where they have to deal with it. And they have to they've created programs, they've affirmative action or whatever it is to try to be more inclusive. And there's like the spotlight is on them. They have to do something about it. Whereas a lot of Europe, their issues with the race is very modern. It's just like since the 70s. So they haven't learned to deal with it yet. Yeah. So it's like leaving that space means that I can be in spaces where people are trying to actively do something about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been rambling like crazy.
No, you've been great.
Thank you.
You've been talking.
I love you taking over as a host now. Having said that, thank you so much, Zubi, for coming on the pod. Of course. Where can people find you?
They find me at Chop Zubi on Instagram and TikTok. And at Damn Zoob on Twitter, actually. I don't know. I never changed my Twitter handle.
Yes. Well, you can follow me on Cansu Disdat, CANSU It's probably going to change soon. On Instagram or Cansu Comedy on TikTok. I'm new to TikTok now. I'm trying. I'm really trying. It's so hard. And follow the podcast and listen to more episodes. Thank you.
For having me. Bye.